1. Albert Fish. Albert Fish wasn't just the killer. He was a living nightmare. He targeted children, lured them in with promises of sweets and parties, then subjected them to unimaginable torture. What disturbed even the police was his letter to the mother of 10-year-old Grace Budd. In it, he described in chilling detail how he lured her, murdered her, and then even cannibalized her body. He confessed to eating parts of her body over several days. His body was covered with needles he had inserted into his own pelvis. The detectives on his case said they had never read or heard anything so evil. Some even vomited. He enjoyed pain, both giving and receiving. His final words before his execution, "I don't even know why I'm here." 2. Andrei Chikatilo, the Butcher of Rostov. Known as Russia's most prolific serial killer, Chikatilo was responsible for the murders of at least 52 people, mostly children and young women. He had a twisted ritual. He would stab his victims repeatedly, sometimes more than 30 times, and bite chunks out of their bodies while they were still alive. Most of his victims were disemboweled, and some had their eyes gouged out as he believed victims could curse him through their eyes. The crime scenes were so brutal that even experienced Russian officers were said to be psychologically shaken. His trial had to be conducted from a cage because he would lash out, scream, and expose himself in court. 3. Tsutomu Miyazaki, the human Dracula of Japan. Miyazaki abducted little girls between the ages of 4 and 7. After strangling and mutilating their bodies, he would drink their blood and eat their body parts, earning him the nickname Dracula. What truly shocked the nation was that he mailed letters and photos of the victims' remains to their families. He kept the hands of one victim as trophies, sleeping next to them at night. When he was arrested, he showed no remorse, instead blaming an alternate personality he called Ratman. Police who reviewed his private video collection found hundreds of disturbing anime and horror videos alongside real footage. Or David Parker Ray, the toy box killer. Ray didn't just kill, he tortured. In his soundproof trailer, which he called his toy box, he imprisoned women and used surgical tools, whips, and electric shock devices on them. He recorded himself and played a 10-minute tape to his victims when they woke up, telling them exactly how he'd torture them in a calm, emotionless voice. Most victims had no memory afterward as he drugged them heavily. Some were killed, some released. None came out the same. The police discovered a diary of over 50 victims, yet they could only identify a few. One officer said it was the closest thing to hell on earth they had ever seen. 5. Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. Rodney once appeared on a TV dating show and won, even while he was actively murdering women. He lured victims by pretending to be a photographer, then brutally beat and strangled them, often reviving them multiple times to prolong the torture. He kept trophies, earrings, photographs, and sometimes locks of hair. Police later discovered a secret locker containing thousands of photos of unidentified women and children, some possibly victims. Even decades later, families come forward recognizing faces. Officers have said the scale of his crimes could rival Ted Bundy's, but many victims may never be identified. 6. Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal. Dahmer's apartment was a house of horrors. Inside, police found severed heads in the fridge, barrels of acid used to dissolve flesh, and photographs of dismembered bodies. He targeted young men, many of whom he lured with money or alcohol. After drugging them, he would strangle, photograph, and perform post-mortem experiments. One of the most disturbing parts, he drilled into the skulls of live victims and poured acid, hoping to create a zombie. When arrested, he told police he felt no emotion, only curiosity. Officers who entered his apartment said they couldn't sleep for days after what they saw. 7. Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento. Richard Chase believed his blood was turning to powder. He broke into homes in broad daylight, murdered people, and drank their blood. One of his most disturbing crimes was the murder of a pregnant woman, whose body he mutilated and cannibalized, including her unborn child. In another case, he blended human organs into a smoothie. He believed aliens were controlling him and that only by drinking blood could he survive. Police who discovered the seeds described buckets of blood, body parts removed with surgical precision, and a complete lack of remorse in Chase's face. He later killed himself in prison. 8. Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. BTK stood for bind, torture, kill. His personal motto. Rader was a family man, a church president, and a scout leader. But secretly, he bound his victims, sometimes entire families, tortured them, and took photos of their bodies in disturbing poses. He enjoyed dressing up in their clothing and taking selfies of himself in bondage. He would send taunting letters to the police describing in detail what he had done, even years after the crimes. His double life shocked everyone. One of the lead detectives later said, "You look into his eyes and see nothing. It's like staring into a cold, dead mirror." 9. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Gacy was known for performing as Pogo the Clown at children's parties. No one suspected the horror hiding beneath his smile. He lured young boys to his house, promising work, then assaulted, tortured, and murdered them. He buried 29 bodies in the crawl space of his home. The stench was so strong that neighbors complained for years. When police finally searched the house, officers had to be rotated out due to emotional breakdowns. The sheer number of bodies, stacked, decayed, nameless, was overwhelming. Gacy's cold, smirking attitude in interviews only deepened the horror. 10. Ed Gein, the real-life Leatherface. Gein only confessed to 2 murders, but his home revealed far more. Inside, police found bowls made from human skulls, lampshade from human skin, and a full bodysuit made of women's flesh, which he wore to become his dead mother. He dug up graves to make trophies and believed he could resurrect the dead. His crimes inspired movies like Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The officers who found the remains said it was like stepping into a living horror film. Ed Gein never truly understood what he did was wrong. He simply saw people as parts.